Hi, I'm Alex with the New American, and I want to tell you today about Trump's proposed tax plan, which he apparently developed with congressional Republican leaders. There's, as former Representative Ron Paul and his people are putting it, there's good, there's bad, and there is ugly. Right? So let's start with the good. The goal is to reduce taxes, and reduce taxes obviously is always good. Right? The government at all levels now consumes huge amounts of America's resources. Right? We're talking somewhere between 40 and 60% of America's resources, depending on whose numbers you use. Incredible amounts of wealth wasted, squandered on government, on things that government should never be doing, and especially at the federal level, right? The Constitution is supposed to constrain the government. They're taking in trillions and trillions of dollars every year. They're still running these major deficits, and most of it is being spent on unconstitutional shenanigans. So we've got a big problem here with that. So the good news is that under this proposed plan, and the details are still being worked out, but under this proposed plan, Americans would be able to keep more of their money. It would also simplify the plan. Right now, as it stands, the goal is to reduce the number of brackets from 7 down to 3, make things a little bit simpler, eliminate a bunch of the loopholes that the special interests fought for and exploit all the time. And this is a big personal favorite of mine. People get to deduct their state and local taxes from their federal taxes. So if you're in California and you pay a huge amount of state taxes there, or New York or Illinois or one of the other high-tax bloated welfare states, you love that, right? Because then you pay less taxes to the federal government. And in effect, what this does is it forces Americans in low tax states, where we've elected responsible representatives, like in Florida we don't have an income tax, and I think there's 7 different states where there's no income taxes, and where states try to keep property taxes low, then those people end up getting penalized to subsidize, the wealthy billionaires in California and the Illinois and New York who want to write this off from their federal taxes. Well, under this proposed plan, that would stop. And that means, some people's taxes in theory would go up a little bit, but the plan is to reduce taxes so much that it'll more than offset that. And that way, if the California people want their big government, they can pay for their own big government. If the people in New York want the big government, they can pay for their own big government and leave the people of Florida and the people of Wyoming and the people of Alaska alone. And, fair is fair. If you want a big government, like the state of New York, I heard the other day, has got twice as many government employees as the state of Florida does. If you want to have a big government, pay for it yourself, and don't expect the good people of Florida or Wyoming or New Hampshire to pay for your big government. Fair is fair. So that's some of the good elements of this tax plan. Unfortunately, there is one big problem that's been highlighted by a good number of people, and that is that this plan does not actually cut any spending. So, yeah, we're going to cut taxes, that's good, but if you cut taxes and you don't cut spending, you're really just kicking the can down the road, right? So at some point, taxes are going to have to be raised, or even worse, they might just start printing the money, which they've been doing for a long time. They call it monetizing the debt, right? So the government will just borrow a bunch of money, the Federal Reserve will just print a bunch of fiat dollars, and everything will go on. And really what they'll be doing then is taxing the poor and the middle class through the secret and very insidious inflation tax. So, that's a big problem. These tax cuts, which again, tax cuts, who could argue with tax cuts? Americans want tax cuts. The wealthy, the middle class, the poor, assuming they pay taxes, everybody deserves a tax cut, right? We pay way too much taxes, but if this is not coupled with spending cuts, and unfortunately the congressional rhino leadership does not seem very interested in cutting spending, then really this doesn't actually solve the problem of a bloated federal government that's spending money wildly on all sorts of unconstitutional programs. So one of the most important things that activists and responsible citizens could be doing right now is urging the federal government to A, obey the Constitution, and B, along with that, quit spending so much money on things that violate the Constitution. So yeah, let's get some tax cuts. Trump's plan is looks like a very good start. It's not everything that true constitutionalists and conservatives might like, right? Abolish the IRS, get rid of the income tax, reduce spending by huge amounts. But it's a start, it's a step in the right direction. But we need to push for spending cuts. We have to cut spending. The federal government is out of control. They're wasting so much money. We got to stop it. I'm Alex Newman with the New American. Thanks for watching. Check out the links below and stay tuned.